another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Deluxe Female Elf Builder Pack from the Mythic Legion's Tactics War of the Aetherblade campaign. This is one of 4 deluxe builders in the wave. So this wave was tied to fundraising for the video game that's still in production. But this is a female elf. There's also a male elf, and then there's a male orc and a female orc in the wave. And of course, there's also the Gorgo Attila 2-pack. I did a review of that one. You can check that out here. These deluxe builder packs are just awesome, especially if you're kind of just getting into Legions, because it gives you a real taste of what this line is all about, because they come with all sorts of swappable parts, lots of really neat, fun, customizable options. And so this pack, the Deluxe Barbarian that they just reissued about a year ago, the original 2 Deluxe Knights, those are, to me, some of the best things that they do, because it really captures the whole nature of the line and its customizability. So yeah, I highly recommend these packs. Of course, these are starting to sell out. It took so long for the pre-order to get here that this was back when there weren't as many retailers. So really, Big Bad Toy Store and maybe a couple others are going to have it. And then if they sell out, you might be out of luck with Big Bad. You might be able to catch one where somebody drops it out of their pile of loot or something. But for the most part, it's going to be kind of tricky to get these. So if you have an opportunity to grab them for the retail price, I think the 4 builder packs, the 4 deluxe builder sets are $75 each. Definitely worth it, in my opinion. But anyway, let's get into this review. Okay, zooming in on that head sculpt, this is a very familiar, pretty much everything on this figure is very familiar pieces. There's not a lot of new stuff because, well, this wave went up for pre-order 2 years ago. So these are parts that are generally 2 years or older. And this head sculpt has been on numerous elves and vampires. So pretty common stuff here, but just getting it all reissued in different colors is a lot of fun. So the ears here on this one, some people were asking me if they are black. They're not black, they're brown, as are the arms over here. And you can see they're pretty close, but just a little darker than the original brown skin elf over here. So I think that this color would work pretty well. I have Father Christmas's arms here, and I could see using Father Christmas's arms with that head on an elf like this, because the browns are very close. They're a little darker on this one, but not by much. And even though this is a builder, it's not a Legion builder, so it does have some nice detailed paint applications. So we have all those greens recessed within the scroll work in the armor. We have, little rivets and things painted over there. So there's a lot more than just your typical one-tone colors on a typical Legion builder. This is a deluxe builder set. So again, some paint work in there. We've got straps and buckles painted up. And I'll show you all the swap out options later. I'll do a couple swaps. I'll show you all the accessories and all the extra pieces. These things are loaded. And then some nice little detail work in the lower legs there. And the feet are green. So you got greens, browns, silvers. And there's options to kind of essentially eliminate a lot of the silver and switch over to a more earthy sort of green woodland elf kind of look. But I do really love this armored look right here. This is one of my favorite sculpt combinations. This head with this torso is pretty sweet in my opinion. I also wanted to briefly mention the backer card in there. Because my spin arounds that I've been doing in the beginning of the video, you can't see this. I thought it would be cool to show. There's a lot of game branding, but there is some new Nate Barch artwork right there on the inside, behind the figure on the backer card. And then here's a zoomed out shot so you can see the overall look of the figure. And for height, this is a little deceiving because the point at the top of this helmet goes up a lot higher than your typical head. So if you swapped on and put one of the other heads on there, it's probably going to be just under 6.5. But with this thing on there, it's almost 7 inches tall. Next up, we've got a couple named elves. On the left is Artemis Silvercord 2, shares essentially the same buck. I mean, they have a lot of different parts, but they're built on the same buck. And Artemis was one that I bought an extra of when that went up for pre-order, because I knew that I would want extra skirts and things to bring to the table when I got my Forge, when I got these tactics figures in hand. On the right is Bardrick with my Harker Customs custom cape and loincloth skirt piece. And then next up we have some wave mates. On the right is the Attila Leoseer 2, and on the left is the Gorgo Aetherblade 2 with the Demon Head from the Heads pack. Comparing the elf builder with some other lines, we have some 6-inch figures here. On the left is Conan the Barbarian from Mezco 112 Collective with some Kylab add-on parts. And on the right is the Boss Fight Studios Gladiator Epic Hacks skeleton. And a couple other familiar lines, we have the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Chunari Legionary on the left, and on the right we have a Masterverse He-Man Kit Bash with a Monster Machine Creations head sculpt painted by Eric Miller. Accessories, there is a boatload. This being a builder set, it just comes with tons and tons of swap out options. So we do have the elf shield that's got some nice detail work in there, and it's got the handle. Two-handed longsword, again, nicely painted. There's some great details, and I like how certain elements of this figure have a flat finish. Like a lot of the greens, like those greens there on these accessories are a flat, very foresty. I love it. Very woodland vibe to it. Comes with these two curved blades that do peg together to make a double-ended weapon, and it also has that matte green finish on the handle. Another singular curved blade right here. It also comes with a bow, also in that flat green, and then a set of arrows with a light brown fletching on there. And probably my favorite weapon that the elf builder comes with is this shorter elven sword that has that green. Something about that green on this sculpt looks great with that copper accent. The figure does come with multiple extra head sculpts, so lots of swap out options. We've got a knight's helmet, we've got a brown skinned elf in the hood, and then we have a light skinned elf with the hair, the unhooded look, and they all have their necks, so you got matching necks for everything. And then this one does come with one exclusive head sculpt, and that is this one, which I think was only available in the Deluxe Knight pack, but we've got a different kind of ornate looking knight's helmet here for the elf. Comes with an entirely additional torso right here that's got that like tabard kind of look, the sort of armored tabard look, and to go with it you have the piece that goes on the waist there for the full look there. And then we've got an additional skirt piece, a little more woodland looking, a little less heavily armored, and a couple of the slightly more ornate looking shoulder pauldrons here. And I'll do some swaps in a minute so that you can see how some of these parts look in different configurations. And usually the straps aren't very exciting, but it's not often we get one in a new color. So getting this strap in this beige light brown color is pretty cool, and it'll add some nice options to the leather bits. Next up, a couple swaps. Now, I haven't really changed much on this. I just swapped the shoulder pauldrons with the green ones and added that exclusive head sculpt. And then here's how it looks with the other knight's helmet. And then for swapping the other parts on, specifically the torso, there's a little more work involved. You do need to pop it off at the waist. That's just a straight cylindrical peg. That's pretty easy. Usually you don't need a ton of heat for that one, but you'll definitely want to heat up the arms. So I'm going to heat those up off camera now and swap it out for the other torso. Okay, next up, completely transformed by swapping out the loincloth, belt, chest, and head. Just this is like a whole new figure, right? Much more woodland kind of vibe here. And then one final look at this build with the alternate elf head sculpt without the hood. For articulation, the 2.0 figures generally have a little bit more range. They're slimmer, they have that upper torso articulation. So if you're using one of the like heads with the hair or with the hood, the head articulation is going to be much more limited, but I put this one on here so you can see the full range. So you can look up, down, can go side to side, and can twist all the way around. The shoulder pauldrons are on those pegs, so those can swing up and down. Arm can go out to a T-pose. It can swing all the way around if the pauldrons aren't on there. There is a single jointed elbow that comes a little bit past 90 degrees, and then there's a twist at the top of the elbow. There's a twist at the gauntlet and a hinge horizontally at the wrist and a twist as well. Biggest difference between articulation on 2.0 figures versus 1.0 figures is that the 2.0 figures have an upper ball joint, so they get a good range of motion up in that torso. This one's a little bit limited by this lower part of the front piece, but as you can see, the other torso has no limitations to that range. There's a lot of good movement. And then the waist is just a twist. Unlike the 1.0 figures that have a ball joint at the waist, this just twists. Hinge and swivel at the leg can kick out quite a bit and can swing back. There's a twist at the top of the thigh, can go out into the splits. Single jointed knee comes to about 90 degrees. There's also a twist at the knee, hinge at the ankle, and you can spin the ankle and rock it. And finally, before we go, one last little look at some swaps here. And what I did, this is what the plan has been from the beginning, was I took some of Artemis Silvercord's parts and put it on with the elf, and I think it looks fantastic. So I have the cloth goods from Artemis as well as that belt piece that comes over the top there added on, and it just adds just a nice dynamic to this figure. And of course, Artemis's stuff is posable, so you can get them into, you know, some windblown looks and whatnot. So Artemis plus the Deluxe female Night Builder is a great combo. Thanks for watching my video, everybody, and until next time, may the force be with you.